Rick Mears leads the fastest front row in history. Will Danny Sullivan's broken arm prevent him from driving? And big doings in Dallas. This and more next on Speedweek.
Speedweek is brought to you by Dodge Cars and Trucks. On the street or off the road, it's the new spirit of Dodge.
Hi, everyone. I'm Bob Jenkins, and welcome to Speedweek as we kick off another edition of Thursday Night Thunder. A full night of racing coming up here on ESPN. We'll tell you more about it in just a few moments. But first, the story of how Rocket Rick Mears made Indianapolis Motor Speedway history last weekend. After a day of rain Saturday, the battle for the $157,000 pole position for the 73rd running of the 500 began at noon on Sunday. And never before had cars traveled so fast around the 2.5 miles. One of the month's fastest in practice was the first to answer the qualifying call. Al Unser in one of Roger Penske's new cars was the first to set 1- and 4-lap records at over 223 miles an hour. He was on the pole for 2 hours as 12 tried unsuccessfully to knock him off, including Kevin Cogan, who oiled the track when his engine let go just as he took the flag. The track crew will have to put oil dry down, and look who's waiting to qualify. It's Mario Andretti, who blamed a slow effort last year on oil dry that he didn't know was there in turn 4. Will history repeat itself? No, the powder presents no problem for Mario, but his 220.4 puts him shy of a 4th pole. Then, in the heat of the day, and in fact the warmest it's been all month at the Speedway, the month's fastest traveler at over 226, Rick Mears, is set to go. He needs 223.4 to get the pole, but would like more than that. Rick does what everybody thought he would do, although not quite as fast as many thought. Nevertheless, the quickest laps in Speedway history. 1-lap record of 224.254 and the 4-lap average of 223.885.
I worked up a little bit of a sweat here, even though it's a cool day. The track didn't have quite the grip that we had earlier, and we really had to work for it to get those numbers. And because I really felt we could break the 225 mark, but it just wasn't there. So we had to do a lot of adjusting in the corners and the bars in the car and everything else to try to get to where we were at, basically.
For the moment, the front row consists of all Chevy Indy engines. But Jim Crawford has turned laps in excess of 224. Can he put his Buick on the pole? Well, it's a new track record for stock blocks at over 221, but it's not fast enough for the pole. The average is good enough for outside row 1, and right now, Jim has spoiled the Chevy domination.
I'm kicking myself a bit. The car was great. The engine, everything was fine. We did a quick engine change before the qualifying run, and I was setting the boost up, and I screwed up, and I think it cost us a bit of time, but we're in here anyway.
Now, as the final first 8 qualifier, it's all up to Emerson Fittipaldi, who's practiced faster than Mears' pole-winning speed. The 2-time world champion gives it everything he's got, but falls short. With an average of just over 222, Emo is 3rd quickest, and now it's official, Rick has his record-setting 5th pole. The outside front row spot means, however, that although not all members of his team, it's a front row consisting of all Roger Penske-built chassis and all Chevy Indy engines, which Roger developed. Emo says he now feels like an Indy car, not Formula One driver. In all, 26 qualified on Sunday, a record for one day. The tentative lineup has Mears on the pole, Al Sr. alongside, then Fittipaldi. 2 Buicks in the second row, Jim Crawford and Scott Brayton. Mario separates them. The fastest Cosworth belongs to Bobby Rahal, then Little Al Chevy in the fastest Judd engine with Raul Boesel. A.J. Foyt's 32nd consecutive start will be from inside row 4. Randy Lewis and John Andretti will join him. Row 5 has Teo Fabi, Gary Bettenhausen, and Ari Leyendijk. Terrell Palmroth, rookie Scott Pruitt, and Ludwig Heimrath Jr. make up row 6. 2 other rookies, Didier Taze and Bernard Jourdain, join Michael Andretti in the 7th row. 2 former winners in row 8, Tom Sneva and Gordon Johncock, along with Derek Daly. And the fastest rookie qualifier so far, John Jones, is with Davy Jones in row 9. Now here's a breakdown of how the field is shaping up. Chassis, Lola is the dominant mark, 21, followed by 3 PC-18s, 1 PC-17, and 1 March. There are 9 cars powered by Cosworth, 6 Chevy Indy engines, 6 Buicks, 4 Judds, and 1 Porsche. As far as the drivers are concerned, A.J. Foyt is the oldest at 53 and John Jones is the youngest at 23, a difference of 30 years. The field average of the first 26 cars is 217.011. The record for 33 cars is 210.280, set back in 1986. You perhaps noticed that Michael Andretti at the moment is in row 7, although he's 8th fastest overall. That's because he was a second-day qualifier. His car was found to be 4.5 pounds underweight in a post-qualifying inspection. And Tom Sneva's car failed a side pod deflection test. He, too, was a second-day qualifier. Rookie Steve Saleen was the weekend's only violator, the white line rule. USAC called him in when all 4 wheels dropped below the white line in turn 1 after a lap of 209. The majority of you guessed right in our Speedweek poll for the poll. 56% of you predicted Mears would capture the inside front row spot. Mario Andretti got the next highest number of votes, and then Danny Sullivan, who didn't make an attempt because of last Thursday's crash. Now, how would you like to win this Speedweek poster? Each 50th caller responding to this week's question will do so. And the question is, do you watch auto racing for the high speed or for the thrill of competition? Let us know. Our number is 1-900-990-9000. Press number 1 if you want to vote for speed, or press number 2 if you prefer competition. Each call costs you 95 cents, and we'll have the results in next week's Speed Week. As I mentioned, Danny Sullivan did not qualify last weekend because of his crash last Thursday. And the big question around the Speedway all week has been, will he attempt to qualify this weekend? Well, he has joined us here in our studios, and you have not been in the car yet since the accident, but do you realistically think that you can qualify this weekend?
Well, I think I can qualify, but I don't know if that's the smartest thing to do, the way everything's set up. I think the highest I can hope to qualify would be 26th place. If Geoff Brabham qualifies the car and then I substitute for him, I start 33rd. Is 6th place is really worth it to give my arm another week's rest to build back up to strength, because the whole point is really to finish the 500-miler and go the distance.
And starting back there, you may have a better look at the field in case something happens.
Well, that's right. Sometimes you're a little safer. Nobody's behind you to run into you or do anything wrong. So I don't really think 6th place is going to make that big of a difference. Also, when we start the race on the 28th of May, in the next 6 weeks, we have 5 races. Which is a very tough part of our schedule, because 2 or 3 of them are the toughest road courses that we go to physically. I mean, they're very rough and so forth. And so that's a factor. I've still got to think about trying to win the championship and looking further into the season.
But on the other hand, if you should, God forbid, crash again, aren't you jeopardizing your entire season as the defending champion? Or is Indy so important that you'll relinquish that?
Well, no, I'd rather go for the whole season. Indy is important. But I don't think that I'm going to take a chance. Roger won't let me. The team, everybody, we're all sitting there, I think quite intelligently, trying to make a decision. I'm not going to drive the car unless I feel I can drive 200 laps competitively. I don't want to just get in it and just to start the race. We don't have the deal like they do in NASCAR where the driver can start and he gets the points. If we don't finish the race, we don't get the points.
Your first broken bone in 19 years of racing.
Right.
Tell us about the accident. Do you remember anything, and what they've done to the arm to allow you to test the car?
Well, basically what happened was part of the bodywork of the rear tail section came up and dislodged itself from the car, and of course that screwed up all the aerodynamics, and I lost control of the car just going into 3. It was just a little bit beforehand. I remember spinning, going down through the grass, coming back across the track and making contact with the wall. I don't remember the contact real clearly. I remember a little after that, the ride in the ambulance to the infield hospital, seeing Roger talking to everybody. But it broke my forearm, the outer bone. It was luckily a clean break, but it took a plate and 7 screws to put it back together. Dr. Terry Trammell, who's fixed up a lot of us, and in that respect, we were lucky it happened right here. Are you in any pain? Quite a bit of pain, but I'm, not taking any pain medication or anything. They also had to drill into my elbow to take out a sliver of bone to put in there so it fused quicker. So it's kind of hard to put it down there in certain places. It's going to be sore for a while, because normally this type of break would take 8 weeks to fix. Well, we wish you the best, and just in case you aren't able to drive the car, they have Geoff Brabham standing by.
He has been a designated driver before, and he has tested in the PC-17 earlier this week.
Well, it's by far the best car that I've ever driven around here. Obviously I haven't been here for 2 years, and the tires are supposed to be better, and the track's very, very smooth. But, the car was just a delight to drive, and even if I don't get in any cars for the rest of the month, it's been a privilege to drive one of Penske's cars, and if they need me, I'm here and I'm ready. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens.
Well, the substitute role is not new for Geoff. In 1983, Brabham replaced an injured John Paul Jr., and he went on to finish 4th. There's little doubt that either Brabham or Sullivan will fill in one of the 7 spots still open in the field when qualifying resumes this Saturday. Who else might make it? Well, here are the 7 fastest non-qualifiers in practice so far this week. Once again this weekend, we'll have live coverage of the time trials Saturday from 5:30 to 7 Eastern Time, and then Sunday, when bumping will be going on, we'll be live from 5 until 7. Coming up right after Speedweek at 8 o'clock Eastern Time, we'll have the Mickey Thompson Off-Road Grand Prix from Seattle, and then Richter Brule will host the 9 to 10 o'clock hour of Thursday Night Thunder.
Speedweek is brought to you by Quaker State Motor Oil. The big Q stands for quality. Always has, always will. By Dodge Cars and Trucks. On the street or off the road, it's the new spirit of Dodge. And by Big A, the first letter in auto parts and your local Big A store.
Coming up, Bill Elliott bags a big one.
There's a rough road ahead with no end in sight. Quaker State engines don't know when to quit.
Quaker State is quality engineered to exceed every single American, European, and Japanese car maker's U.S. requirements for maximum engine protection.
So pistons are protected from friction mile after mile. Valves are protected from wear year in, year out.
That's why Quaker State engines run strong and run long.
Quaker State engines don't know when to quit.
The big Q stands for quality. Always has, always will.
Every Dodge machine competing today. It's on the track and off the road. It's the new spirit of performance.
The new spirit of Dodge! The new spirit of Dodge!
This part doesn't fit.
Doesn't fit.
Doesn't fit.
He says his part doesn't fit.
Doesn't fit. Doesn't fit.
Book says it fits.
If your auto parts store is telling you one thing, but your car is telling you another, talk to Big A instead. At Big A, we supply the pros, so we have to know what we're talking about, and our parts have to be pro quality. It's one more way we earn the A every day.
Where's your car?
Think your new car is protected against rain, snow, salt? Keep thinking. Today's unibody cars have hidden areas that will rust. They need state-of-the-art rust protection. That's why Z-Bart invented new Super Rust Protection. It penetrates seams and crevices, covers areas car makers, car dealers, and others ignore, covers you with a lifetime warranty and free reapplications. New Z-Bart Super Rust Protection leaves all others in the rust. Now get $100 off the Z-Bart Total Protection Package.
NASCAR drivers have a busy schedule, racing 30 weekends a year and spending many other weeks testing. This weekend marks the beginning of 7 straight Winston Cup races, and last weekend would have been the perfect time to stay home and relax, but for a couple of NASCAR's finest, that wasn't the case. The crystal clear waters of Lake Tahoe, Nevada. Bill Elliott took a short working vacation, starting his R&R with a charter fishing excursion. Hey, Bill, gonna catch anything?
I don't know. We'll know in a minute.
Boy, that rafter hard to come in.
Sore wrist and all, Bill soon begins to reel him in. Take a look at this, one of the near record-sized Mackinaw trout that Bill caught. Take that. Well, I told you I could do it. The day wasn't over yet. Later on, he signed autographs at Silver State Raceway, where he was scheduled to compete against the locals. Rain forced postponement of the show, but the fans got to see him drive anyway. cutting donuts and performing other high-speed maneuvers in the track's '89 T-Bird pace car. On the same day, a couple thousand miles away, Richard Petty's weekend began with a tour of the garage area at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. And then, with the approval of the IndyCar King of Speed, took the pace car out to get a closer look at the newly paved 2.5-mile oval.
With the new pavement, then that's where some of the speeds have come from. Even though the technology of the cars and stuff is a lot better than it was last year, but it's not no 5 or 6 mile an hour better. So the speed of the racetrack, the extra speed, has been coming from a new surface deal. Next year, with the same cars, they would run slower because the track would go away. But you know, the combination of just thinking about running 225 mile an hour on a flat racetrack with 4 corners, that's just unreal.
So while some stock car drivers had the week off, others were working. In 9 Busch Grand National races so far this year, there have been 8 different winners. There have also been 7 different pole winners so far, Chuck Bound being the latest. He led the field to green at Lanier Raceway in Georgia. The yellow came out on lap 2 for a multi-car crash that involved Debbie Lunsford at number 49, the series' 4th female driver. Bound led until a cut rear tire brought him in on lap number 29. In the mid-stages of the race, the battle was between last year's winner, Tommy Houston, and number 22, Rick Mast, whose new crew chief is Jim Harmon, who used to work for Harry Gant. Rob Moroso maintained his series points lead with a 2nd-place finish. But it was Georgia native Ronald Cooper, a former Lanier regular, taking the lead from Houston on the 135th lap. And not even a spinning Dave Rezendes in turn 4 on the last lap could keep Ronald from his first Grand National victory in only his 34th start, and he becomes the series' 3rd first-time winner this year. Grand National and Winston Cup drivers have now made their way to Charlotte for a series of races in the next 2 weeks. It all begins with the 5th annual Winston and Winston Open this weekend. Those events have been there for the past 4 years, and that's perhaps due in part to the work of President and General Manager Humpy Wheeler. John Kernan has more. John?
Well, Bob, I'm standing in front of the Charlotte Motor Speedway to give you a look at the spectacular view of the Speedway Club, the first thing you see when you enter the track grounds. And spectacular? Well, that's just a way of doing business here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway.
Nothing at the Charlotte Motor Speedway has been as spectacular as the finish of the Winston 2 years ago, when Dale Earnhardt and Bill Elliott played bumper tag at more than 160 miles an hour. And the Speedway's public relations department hasn't let anyone forget about it, because the excitement means sold seats.
People pay for excitement before the event. I mean, that's part of buying a ticket. You get excited before the event, and it's up to us to create that excitement.
Humpy and Company have dreamed up a number of ways to catch the fans' interest, especially in the pre-race entertainment department. Anything goes, from a 3-ring circus to a battle reenactment to boxing. But above all the gimmicks, the race is still number 1, and Wheeler envisions the day when the Coca-Cola 600 becomes even bigger than Indy.
America still likes combat sport, and stock car racing, despite all the penalties, is still a contact sport, and the public loves it. And I'm not talking about intentional this and that, but you get close to each other. People want to see close racing, and that's door handle to door handle. You can't do that at Indy.
Bob, the Charlotte Motor Speedway may not be up to par with Indy on a worldwide basis just yet, but on Memorial Day, down here in the South, you ask anybody who won the race, and they're likely to say Earnhardt, Waltrip, Petty, someone like that, because NASCAR and the Coca-Cola 600 are king.
Thanks, John. And Humpy's comment about close racing fits right in with our Speedweek poll question, which is, do you go to an auto race to watch high speed or close competition? Our number is 1-900-990-9000. Then press 1 for speed or 2 for competition. Each call costs you 95 cents, and each 50th caller receives an ESPN Speedweek poster. Last year, when the USA Sprint Car Organization was formed, 2 top names, Steve Kinser and Sammy Swindell, invested in that group and pledged exclusivity. So far this year, USA has only run 7 times, and last weekend, Kinser, after winning his first in that organization, jumped to the rival World of Outlaws and won there too. So, is USA in trouble? Well, Kinser admits things haven't gone the way he hoped they would.
When this thing was getting started last fall, we had I don't know how many drivers and car owners was all for this. They was all ready to go and get involved in this circuit. Well, as soon as as soon as it did happen, they looked back and they said, well, look here, we got 3 or 4 cars out here. We can go out here and make us some money now. And then they just turned, their backs gone, and away they go racing again. So it all sort of got out of place before it even got started.
There have been rumors in the past few weeks that USA would be closing its doors. So did your action last weekend mean the beginning of the end for USA?
I think the USA is going to continue running their schedule, and I'm going to continue trying to win a point championship there. I think whatever comes out of this split between the cars or whatever, I think eventually, whether it goes back together one way or whatever, I think there's going to be a lot of good come out of what's happened here. And just at this point, I just want to get racing.
So what does USA think about all of this? Well, spokesman Larry Clark told me his group has encouraged drivers to compete outside of USA, and this in no way reflects USA's demise.
Relive the greatest racing moments of the 50s, 60s, and 70s with Dick Wallen's Racing Classics. 10 great videos. Parnelli, Hurtubise, and all the stars of Indy, champ, dirt, and sprint car action. Hot stock car racing running wheel to wheel. Call 1-800-992-VIDEO. 10 thrilling collector videos. Racing's all-time greatest drivers and machines. Visa and MasterCard welcome. Dick Wallen's Racing Classics, just $59.95 each. Order now, 1-800-992-VIDEO. Call 1-800-992-VIDEO.
I can work out by myself just fine, but when it comes to romance, that takes 2. And the best place in America to meet single girls and guys is right here on the telephone. It's the Romance Connection at 1-900-909-8080. Call anytime, 24 hours, and hear recorded messages from fun-loving, exciting singles.
The Romance Connection, 1-900-909-8080. $2 first minute, 45 cents additional minutes.
Maybe we can work out together.
Pronto, the fastest growing name in auto parts today. Pronto, featuring quality auto parts at lower prices. Pronto oil and air filters are designed to meet or exceed your car's original manufacturer's specifications. Pronto oil and air filters provide the protection demanded by today's high technology engines.
When you need to know about auto parts, ask the pro at Pronto.
These daring little cars pack a powerful punch.
Oh, hang on, Andy!
See the inaugural Indiana Sprint Classic from Indianapolis Raceway, Thursday night live on ESPN.
Race number 3 of the SCCA Trans Am Series was held on the streets and airport runways in the Dallas suburb of Addison, Texas. Irv Hare led the field from the pole position for the 3rd race in a row, but it was a rough first lap for Bob Sobey, who got turned sideways and was hit by Max Jones. And the first lap also saw this 4-car incident. It turned out to be a race of attrition. First, last week's winner and early contender Darren Brassfield DNF'd 12 laps into the race with overheating problems. Wally Dallenbach Jr. inherited the lead and kept it until a mandatory pit stop when a small fire broke out underneath the right side of the car. No one was injured. Then Hare grabbed the lead, but he too would drop out 2/3 of the way through with rear-end problems. That left Dorsey Schrader in the lead. His conservative driving style paid off. He went on to capture Ford's first Trans Am win in nearly 7 years. Sobey, involved in that first lap crash, went on to finish second. 3 races, 3 different manufacturer wins going into next month's showdown in Motown. The Corvette Challenge Series was also part of that SCCA weekend in Addison, and there was a frightening accident that reminds us of Bobby Allison's crash at Talladega a few years back. In the closing minutes of the race, defending series champion Stuart Hayner in number 1 was passing John Brandt's identically prepared Corvette when Brandt's car lost a wheel. Hayner hit it, launching him upside down into the catch fence. Hayner came out of the crash okay, but had to take his helmet off to squeeze out one of the windows. Hayner said afterwards that he saw the tire and thought it would just bounce off, but obviously that wasn't the case.
Report as we go.
The accident brought out the pace car, which meant that the race ended under yellow, giving the win to Sean Hendricks. Now, don't forget to call us and let us know, do you go to an auto race to watch high speed or close competition? Our number is 1-900-990-9000.
slip the bounds of nature and powered by an unrelenting force within. The intercooled, turbocharged Dodge Daytona Shelby.
0.0 financing or savings up to $3,000. Dodge, the cars and trucks America wants.
From dawn's early light till the sun is set, Quaker State engines don't know when to quit.
Quaker State exceeds every single car maker's U.S. requirements for maximum engine protection. That's why in Atlanta, Georgia, the engine in every fire truck, every police car, every Atlanta city-owned vehicle is a Quaker State engine.
Quaker State engines don't know when to quit.
The big Q stands for quality. Always has, always will.
Every set of Yokohama A509 and AVS series tires comes with a free set of wheels. See your participating dealer for details.
Find out how much speed it takes to qualify for the world's oldest and most prestigious auto race. See the Indy 500 time trial, Saturday and Sunday afternoon live on ESPN. This is ESPN, the Total Sports Network.
Most of the historic video seen here on ESPN Speedweek is furnished to us by Dick Wallen's Racing Classics. The U.S. Grand Prix is only a little more than 2 weeks away, and our Rick DeBrule in Phoenix brings us up to date on how things are going there.
Well, here in Phoenix, preparations for the Grand Prix are actually going pretty smoothly. The city is even ahead of schedule. You can see back there the scoring tower has already been built, the garage is next to that, and most of the barricades have already been moved into place.
But that doesn't mean the city officials are ready to relax.
I'll have to be apprehensive with anything this big, with this many new moving parts. So far, I think the city staff has done an incredible job of getting the barricades, getting the contracts out, getting them in place, getting the fences up. All that is ahead of schedule.
This is one of the key reasons Phoenix got the Grand Prix, permanent garages. Detroit balked at the idea. In Phoenix, workers are down to putting on the finishing touches. The same goes for the scoring tower the city has built. As for the streets, well, the parts that needed repaving were done 2 months ago. But there are two major things the city can't control. The first is whether the people of Phoenix will support the race.
I believe that's building. I think as people see the race course coming into fruition, they hear some of the things that it's doing for our hotel industry and our motel industry in the Phoenix area, people are getting more and more excited about it.
The other concern centers around this office, the National Weather Service, and the question of just how hot will it be on June 4th.
You can expect an average high of 99 degrees, and it's gotten as high as 110.
But don't forget, it's a dry heat.
Humidity dry, 10%. So you're talking about with 99 degrees for a high and 10% humidity, the air actually feels like it's 95 degrees, or actually cooler than it really is.
I guess that's what we'll tell the Grand Prix drivers when they show up here in Phoenix. It's only a chilly 95. In Phoenix, I'm Rick DeBrule reporting for Speedweek.
So temperatures will probably be near 100 degrees on race day, so you know what the race is going to be called? The Iceberg Grand Prix, named after the sponsor, an Italian clothing manufacturer. And ESPN will be supplying the television coverage of that race to the entire world. Our live coverage begins at 4:30 Eastern Time on Sunday afternoon, June the 4th. And our live coverage of the final weekend of qualifying in Indianapolis begins Saturday at 5:30 Eastern Time, and then on Sunday the final 2 hours from 5 until 7. And that's it for this edition of Speed Week. Now, earlier we showed you Bill Elliott doing some fishing on his weekend off, and we leave you with some Dick Wallen video of another fishing expedition a few years back with Tiny Lund, Cale Yarborough, and Jim Hurtubise. So long, everyone.
Has been brought to you by Quaker State Motor Oil. The big Q stands for quality, always has, always will. By Yokohama, one of the world's largest tire manufacturers. And by Busch Beer, the beer with a taste as smooth as its name.